What's up, guys? I got a double video, 2-in-1 for you today. Let's jump right into it. So first off, we're going to talk about the Minecraft movie. I saw it 2 days ago. First showing that I could get to immediately after school. And Lord have mercy, do I got some thoughts about the Minecraft movie. I will say, I went into it expecting something fun. Nothing good. Nothing, jaw-dropping, nothing cinematic, just something fun, something I can enjoy with my friends, something that we can all go and giggle at, and I'll say that was the best movie experience I've ever had. I'm not even kidding, like bar none. That was the most fun I've ever had in a theater, ever. So to set the stage a little bit, the theater was packed. It was full. I have never been in a theater with this many people. I've never been in a theater where there was half the seats filled. There was nearly every seat in the house was filled from top to bottom, and the whole crowd was full of Minecraft fans, full of people, and everyone was talking to each other. Even total strangers were talking to each other about Minecraft, pointing out the different cameos of the different Minecraft YouTubers, and quoting the movie when you see the different things appear. It was and the movie was so self-aware. The movie knew that it was going to be stupid and dumb, and I really liked that. This was truly the quintessential so bad it's good, and it was great. It was awesome having when Steve showed up and said, "I am Steve," the whole room literally burst into applause. It was so awesome. And you could just hear the whole crowd yelling, "Chicken jockey," or the "Flint and Steel," the Nether. It was so good. And the movie was really funny. I expected it to be entertaining with how bad it was. But it honestly legitimately was entertaining on purpose, and it was it knew the comedy it wanted to tell, and that was really cool. You could tell the style of humor was definitely absurdist, half millennial. When you have jokes the mid credits. There's spoilers for the movie. The mid credits joke with the villager finally talking into a full, complete sentence, and that was the joke. That was great, and it was really funny. It was really funny. The whole the Jack Black, Jason Momoa 69, oddly the homoerotic section was great. It was great, and I thought it was fantastic. Absolute peak cinema. I really liked how it looked. I thought that everything looked great. I'm not really sure how else you could have done it in live action without it looking like that. And honestly, I'm not even kidding. I would be totally okay if they made a second Minecraft movie that was the exact same everything, just a new story with a new adventure. Take even the same characters, even. Maybe it's a Minecraft story the second day. I don't even care. It was great. Have them fight the Wither. It was so good. It was so good. I'm very glad that it was exactly everything I wanted. And I even picked up the TNT popcorn bucket. I wasn't going to buy anything because this is the first movie theater merchandising that I've picked up, because they're usually pretty expensive. But I decided to splurge, and I picked up the TNT popcorn bucket, and I'm very glad that I did. It sits on my desk up here with me, and I'm probably going to use it for something, but I don't know what yet. And it was great. We're going to speedrun this. It's going to be a fast video. I want to make bigger videos going deeper into both these topics, which I probably will. But I want to go ahead and get these out the way so I can have something out this week before I go back to school. Secondly, the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. I'm going to make a bigger video on this, so I'm not going to go super deep into it. We're just going to highlight reel some of it. Some big things. Number one, The system itself looks, it's everything that I wanted. I'm not even kidding. It was everything that I had hoped it would be, in terms of the actual console, with the features, with the controllers, with the resolution and frame rate, with how everything's run. It's what I wanted. It's just the Switch, but significantly better, and that's really all I wanted. I just wanted better Switch. They did some really, really, really good marketing things. Download play from the DS is back. Awesome. You can get upgrades of Switch 1 games. It's going to depend on how much those are, if they're successful or not. Because I know PlayStation has a few. I know you can get like a Spider-Man remastered from the PS4, and like you can pay like $10 and it upgrades to the PS5 version. If it's like $10 per thing, that's not terrible. I can justify that for some games, if that's what you wanted. You could pick and choose your favorite games, so I could see that. It really just depends on their pricing with that, but that's cool that they have the upgrades. They said that all games are downloadable back to the Switch 2, except for a few, which I imagine would just be like probably 1-2 Switch, or Labo. They probably have to put that so that way legally they can not include Labo and Ring Fit Adventure and not get sued. But I imagine every game will be available to re-download and re-enjoy, which I'm happy about. Which I am very happy about. Some of the games. The Donkey Kong 3D game, I'm not going to lie, I don't think I'm that... honestly, this is something I noticed. I'm not that interested in really any of the games that they showed off, except for about 3, which I'll get to. Which, it's cool that they have it. I'm really glad that they finally have 3D Donkey Kong. I'm really happy about it. And, DK finally gets his own big game again. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about his design yet, but I'm sure I'll come around to it. They had the Hyrule Warriors 2. I loved Hyrule Warriors 1. I never played Breath of the Wild, seriously. But I loved Hyrule Warriors. I thought that was a phenomenal game, one of my top 10 Switch games, even without even touching Breath of the Wild. So I'm excited about that. But really the big 3 games that I actually care about is, honestly, Enter the Gungeon 2, because of the way that the Direct messed up. I didn't actually get to see Enter the Gungeon 2, and I forgot to look up footage for it, but I heard it exists, so Enter the Gungeon 2. I love Enter the Gungeon 1. Deltarune, Chapter 3 and 4, pretty excited for that. I never actually played Chapter 2. I know. Undertale's one of my favorite games ever. Never played Chapter 2. I enjoyed Chapter 1. So Chapter 3 and 4, very cool. But of course, the big one that I really care about is Mario Kart World. I'm a big Mario Kart fan. Loved Mario Kart 8. Have been. This is something like very, very specific that I never really expected to happen in the Mario Karts, but it is actually legitimately the reason why I might dip into it. It's the character roster. My favorite thing in Mario games, in Mario spin-off games, my absolute favorite thing is them finding ways to make generic enemies playable. That is such a specific and weird thing to love, but I adore it. So every time when I open up Mario Tennis Aces, did a lot of this really well, and I love Mario Tennis Aces for it. You can play as a blooper. You can play as a Chain Chomp. You can play as a Spike, as a Koopa, as a Boo, whatever. These just generic, no nonsense, non-character enemies from Bowser's Army as characters. Loved. With that, seeing the Mario Kart World roster, and this I don't even think is the full roster. I think it's just part of it, especially if they have DLC down the line. But looking at the roster that they've already shown, it's incredible. It's phenomenal. I legitimately started crying. I was in Spanish class. It was my first block. It was like 9, and it was 9 in the morning in my Spanish class, and we have a very small Spanish class, and so I sit alone and do my own work. because I'm more advanced than the others, and I was just it was just like, it was like the big manly tears, like one or two, just thinking like, holy shit, this is the perfect Mario Kart, and it is. The carts look incredible, and it looks like they had the pre-designed carts like in Wii, which I'm happy about. I didn't really care for the customization in 7 and 8. Costumes are here, and I'm so happy they have costumes, because you can change the look of these characters without having to have 17 slots taken up by Pink Gold Peach and Tanuki Mario. So happy about that. So happy about that. And then again, there's the character roster again. Oh man, bro. Pokey, Spike, Bonefish, Snowman. Oh, Lord have mercy. I need to make a full video just on Mario Kart alone. And then the big thing, of course, is that it's open world. It's open world Mario Kart. It is, you can drive anywhere you want, across the road, off the road. All tracks are connected, and then the cups are all tied together, so part of the race is traveling to the next course. That's really, really, really awesome. Oh my goodness gracious. I always like to imagine when I was playing Mario Kart, you're in a real tournament, you're in a real cup, and you're traveling across the world to compete in these races, and now you literally are traveling across the world to compete in these races. It's so much fun. I heard, I don't know if it's true, I haven't confirmed this yet, but I heard, and I'm hoping that there's a mode where you can turn the traveling off and you can have just a standard 3-lap course 1 by 1, so that way you can really enjoy each track individually and then enjoy just the standard world. I imagine at the very least there'll be time trials, and that's been a classic staple of Mario Kart, so I imagine you'll have that. But yeah, I just so happy about Mario Kart. I'm a big Mario Kart fan, and this is the perfect Mario Kart. I don't think there's a single thing I would change about it, aside from, oh yeah, you knew this was coming, the price. Youch. I will say, I'm currently saving for Switch 2. I'm 18 years old. I'm getting jobs. I'm doing my thing to save up for college, and I'm starting my own little small thing for Switch 2 fund. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it is the fault of Nintendo being greedy. I don't know if it's the fault of the current economic state. I don't know if it's the fault of the tariffs, or maybe it's all three. I don't know. All I know is, wow. I honestly am not even that upset about the price of the console. The console's $450 base, $500 for the bundle. That's honestly not even that crazy. My PlayStation 5 was about the same. I got a PS5 bundle with Final Fantasy 16. I haven't touched Final Fantasy 16, I'll admit, but it's not that big of a deal. But the game prices are kind of a big deal. That's kind of crazy. And what's crazy is just the jump. It's just the jump. We've lived in a world where games have been $60 for more than 10 years now, and then there was one $70 game with Tears of the Kingdom, and then it immediately jumped up to $80, and I heard it's $90 for physical editions. That's nuts. That's actually genuinely nuts. That's really, really hard to justify. I personally can justify it for very, very few games. This Mario Kart, I honestly, legitimately, to be honest with you, I could justify it for this Mario Kart. But that's it. I really cannot think of any other game that I could justify an $80 price tag simply because the replay value. Mario Kart's infinitely replayable. I play H Deluxe all the time. All the time. I still get value out of the game. And I honestly am not even a big believer in the stance that no game should be $60. No game is worth that much. I disagree with that. I disagree. I think that a game like Smash Brothers, I poured hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours into Smash Brothers, and if you trickle down the price to hour ratio of how much time I put in versus how much I paid for it, then I paid like 3 cents for every 10 hours. And like that's like a very, very small amount compared to what it really was. And I think it was worth it. I think that game is good enough and it entertained me enough to be worth $60. I think that if a movie, the Minecraft movie, which we talked about that in this video, the Minecraft movie I paid $10 for, those $10 were for about 2 hours worth of entertainment. So you boil that down, 2 hours versus $10, that's about $5 per hour. And if we break that into $5 per hour for a game like Mario Kart, we have $5 versus the 80. So 80 divided by 5 would be, I don't know. Man, I'm actually blanking. Wow, I feel stupid. Lord have mercy. 80 divided by 5. Hold on, let me calculate that real fast so I don't tell you the wrong thing. 80 divided by 5. Oh, hold on, chat. Hold on. 80 divided by 5 is 16. So it'd be about $5 every 16 hours. So if I was to give, so we're playing Mario Kart, okay? That's $80. Let's say you can either give $80 or you can pay $5 every 16 hours. That doesn't sound right, but we'll go with it. I think that's a fair deal. I could justify that. Honestly, I can live with that. And let's say I play this game for 100 hours. Let's say I play this game, I'm paying 100 hours of this game. You break it down, $80 for 100 hours. You boil that down. That's not that bad. That's really, intuitively, truly not that bad of a deal. I can justify that. What I can't justify are what I know is coming. What I know is next. Games like Mario Kart, games like Smash Brothers, games like, these games that are vastly replayable. They're basically big events. I can justify that a little bit because I get the value, I get the replay. I can't justify Donkey Kong Banana Badongza. Can't really justify that because at the end of the day, realistically, regardless of how good that game is, I will beat it. Maybe I'll even replay it, but it's going to go on the shelf until I get the urge to play it again. And even if the game has entertained me long enough to make it only $1 per hour, it's an 80-hour game. I don't think I get the feeling of value. I get the feeling of value of this new Mario Kart. I feel value in it. It feels like a worthy product. I don't really feel that for games like the Donkey Kong game. And that's not to say it doesn't look like a good product. I just don't necessarily see $80 worth of value in it. And I think that's going to be really, really telling. And what's really going to be telling is when we have these Switch 1 games that were announced in the last Direct. How much are they going to cost? Is Tomodachi Life Living the Dream going to be $80? It will release a year into the Switch 2. If it is $60 on Switch 1, while everything on Switch 2 is $80, that's gonna look pretty bad. But then again, if they charge $80 for a Switch 1 game, when every other Switch game has been $60, that's gonna look really bad. So, what should they do? Not charge $80. And again, I understand there's a good possibility that a lot of this was affected by things outside of their control, like the tariffs. But still, I understand that from a company perspective it may be difficult, but from a consumer perspective, from a family perspective, from the perspective of people who are also affected by the tariffs, and from the perspective of an 18-year-old who struggles to get a job, it's difficult to justify a $580 purchase for a game system when some families can barely even afford groceries. Nintendo has always been the big proprietor of the affordable gaming. When the PS Vita and the PS Portable was coming out, they had their DS and their 3DS, and by God, it was great because it was cheap. You could play these video games, these games that almost rival the home consoles. These are some phenomenal grade A games that you can play with your friends for $50 to $80 a piece, and that's a steal. And now, this one game costs as much as I paid for my Nintendo 3DS, a whole ass handheld console. That's hard to swallow. It's hard to swallow, and it's hard to swallow that the Switch 1 was $300, and that's not exactly cheap, but compared to what the PS4 and the Xbox One, and especially the PS5 and Series X costed, Nintendo was the budget system. You would have families with 3 or 4 Switches because it was cheap enough to where the whole family could have one. Now that Nintendo has hiked it up so high, whether it is their fault or not, they are no longer the cheap alternative or the budget gaming. They are up there with the big ones, meaning that every family that did not pick up a PS5 because it was too much, but they got a Switch 1 because it was cheaper, will not be getting a Switch 2 because it is too much. And again, I'm not intelligent enough or educated enough to blame Nintendo or blame the tariffs. I'm just going to say it like it is. Regardless of the blame, it's not good. And I don't like it. And I think it should go down. And I think Nintendo should stop being greedy. And I think the tariffs should go away. You see, I think there's plenty of blame to go around all over. So, those are my big thoughts. I thought that the Switch 2 reveal was perfect. I thought everything they showed was perfect. I thought that literally 10 out of 10 Direct could not have been more hype, ushered in the new generation, only followed by a very large and very scary shadow. If we ignore the shadow, which I've been trying to do, it's phenomenal. But the more you look at that shadow, the more it's difficult to truly understand what's the game plan here. Because it doesn't really seem like we have one. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think it'll be fine. I'm really hoping that they pull a 3DS and lower the price right before. But with how things are going, again with the tariffs, I don't see that being a good likelihood. In fact, I very well think that they may increase the price. But I suppose we'll see. So, bottom line, Minecraft movie was phenomenal. Nintendo Switch 2 looks phenomenal. Mario Kart World looks phenomenal. $80 games are not phenomenal. And that's really about it. I hope to see you all around. See you later.